Actor and comedian Ben Stiller seems to have become an unofficial spokesperson for the Harris-Walz campaign, and though he thinks he's offering us deep insight and words of wisdom on this election, one of his most well-known movie roles, Derek Zoolander, actually gives us far more insight than all of Stiller's recent Zoom calls and impromptu interviews combined. Welcome to my channel, Outspoken Samantha. If you are new here, welcome. I do appreciate you clicking on the video to watch it, and since you are here, I would love it if you would hit that subscribe button and make sure to turn on your notifications so that you never miss an upload. And of course, to those of you that are returning, you know that I truly appreciate your support, your comments, engaging in the conversation, and I would love it if you would make sure that you are subscribed as well. So let's talk about Ben Stiller and recently becoming this fanboy for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. Among the many famous faces that showed themselves at the recent Democratic National Convention, Ben Stiller was one of the many wealthy elites in the audience attempting to show us peasants that he understands the issues that middle to low income Americans are dealing with, and that a vote for Harris would solve the problems that are breaking our bank accounts, our communities, our education system, our housing prices, and our border, just to name a few. Never mind the fact that we keep having to remind him and every other Kamala Harris voter that she has been in the White House for the last 3.5 years. So I have a hard time participating in this joy when she is responsible for all of the problems I just listed and many more. And I can't figure out why anyone would think she would fix the issues that she played a significant role in creating. But back to Ben. Now, uncharacteristically of him, he did seem to keep a relatively low profile at the Democrat event, but he has not been shy about using his name, his face, and his fame to play the part of a pro-Democrat and pro-Kamala fanboy in many other ways, and in many other interviews and appearances since 2021. One of his first political moves that took social media by storm was back in 2021, when Ben Stiller went to Ukraine to meet with fellow actor and comedian turned president of Ukraine, Vladimir Zelensky, during what we have been repeatedly told is a war so deadly that the U.S. is obligated to send their soldiers, their military, and their citizens billions of dollars just to survive the attacks by Russia. Yet neither one of these men look remotely ruffled by the supposed carnage happening right outside the doors. In fact, their composure is extremely impressive, as I'm sure Stiller himself had to step over piles of dead women and children just to shake hands with the man he called his hero.
Thanks for taking the time.
Great honor from you.
No.
We know you very well.
It's a great honor for me, and nice to see you. It's really wonderful. You're my hero. You're amazing. As you quit a great acting career for this.
And I guess if your definition of a hero is Vladimir Zelensky, it isn't a surprise that Ben Stiller would throw his support behind the Harris-Walz campaign, as he seems to be a fan of people that have no problem financially draining American taxpayers. So lately, Ben has been making his way onto various online platforms to bolster the wave of hype that Kamala Harris herself would absolutely fail at if left to her own devices. Unlike Trump, whose crowds line up for hours beforehand to see him, despite the opposite messaging from the media and wealthy Hollywood elites who do everything they can on a daily basis to tell us how awful, narcissistic, and tyrannical he is. Yet supposedly, it's Kamala who is the one who is sincere and whose base is 100% authentic and organic. Just ask Ben.
I'm so genuinely excited about the potential to actually win this election. What's happened in the last couple of weeks, just the turning of the tide, and that, Vice President Harris can actually win this thing if we all just rally around and really take advantage of this incredible energy that's happening. And, I want just a decent person in the White House, a person who cares about democracy more than themselves, who doesn't lie, who's not fomenting anger and rage, who cares about people. And that's what Kamala Harris does. She's like a human being. She acts like a human being.
Well, I'm glad he's excited about all of this, but I do have a question about what Ben's definition of decency, being caring and honest are, and what it looks like when people are fomenting anger and rage. Because I know I'm just a middle-class mom whose non-Hollywood status and lack of millions in net worth makes my opinion invalid, but in my books, decency and honesty are not allowing people to strip on the White House lawn or have gay sex in the the congressional meeting rooms. It's not hiding and lying about a man's severe cognitive decline and pretending that anyone who questions it is an enemy of the country. And it's not putting hundreds of people behind bars for minor offenses and then keeping them in prison past their sentences and forcing them to work for free, which is the definition of modern-day enslavement, nor is it targeting vulnerable families, particularly single moms, with legal consequences for struggling to get their children to school. Decency is also not allowing an entire state to burn, as Governor Tim Walz allowed to happen in 2020, while calling the riots exciting, as his wife bragged about opening her windows just so she could enjoy the smell of the flames, and then, as Kamala did, promoting a bail fund to allow these same arsons out of prison, who then went on to commit further violent crimes against innocent people. And as far as fomenting anger and rage, if their base stands outside the convention of that party, screaming and yelling in support of a terrorist group, dressing up as abortion pills to make a mockery of killing unborn babies, and demands the right to sexualize and mutilate children, and they not only rage at each other, but rage against their leading candidate, that might be an indicator of the emotions that their leading candidates are igniting in people. Let's go on.
And I believe in everything that she's, standing up for. She wants to put an end to gun violence in the country. There's a Zoom tomorrow night about gun violence. And, as everybody knows, we're the only high population country in the world that has this problem. And it's awful because it can be changed.
I wholeheartedly agree with the idea of creating safer communities, but when it comes to gun violence, that threat is becoming increasingly more prevalent for everyday people as migrant gangs are taking over large areas of Democrat cities who proudly called themselves sanctuary cities, robbing gun stores, arming themselves, and threatening actual local law enforcement with death if they try to stop their gang activities. This is an apartment complex in Aurora, Colorado, that these gangs recently took over, and they are now charging people rent like they own the place and nobody can stop them.
Let me just tell you, this apartment building is 4 minutes away from the VA and 3 minutes away from the University of Colorado's hospital down in Aurora. That is insane to me that it is that close.
But that the gang was threatening to kill everybody if they didn't pay them a certain amount for their protection.
While in California, migrant gangs there are actually trying to hijack buses full of kids. And so now if bus drivers see anyone that looks threatening at a bus stop, they will just keep going. Maybe ask the compassionate Kamala Harris why, as border czar, she not only refused to stop dangerous gangs from coming into the country, but that she's now lying about ever having this responsibility, since you did say honesty is important to you.
And she's energizing a whole group of people who were not engaged before.
Yes, we have a whole group of energized young people that know as much about what's going on as you do and think that voting should be determined by who can make the best memes and TikTok dances, and that policy is irrelevant. Just to top things off, Ben Stiller was stopped for another impromptu interview on the street where he was asked again why he supports Kamala Harris, and this is what he had to say.
Just a quick question, why you came and what you like about Harris' platform?
Just very excited about moving forward and all the energy and excitement that's around this movement right now. So that's why I'm here, because it's time for change, and it seems like it's happening.
You think the race is going to be close?
It's going to be close, but everybody's motivated to work and make it happen. So, and she and Tim Walz are just incredible candidates.
Kamala Harris has been in the White House for 3.5 years. So if you truly think things need to change, that means you are unhappy with how things are now. So why would you put the same person in the White House that is responsible for all the things that you think need to change? And this is where this all reminds me of one of Ben Stiller's most infamous character roles, Derek Zoolander, a guy who made it in the modeling world because of the signature facial expression that he became known for. However, Derek would pull the same facial expression in every single public appearance and on every single job, but he will label each facial expression something different. And everybody went along with it, believing that each look was different simply because he said it was. It was this groupthink and mass psychosis where people maybe thought it was just them who felt that everything he did was exactly the same, but they went along with the crowd because if all of these other people said that it was going to be different or that it was different, then it had to be true. And it wasn't until this one character, Mugatu, finally stood up in front of the crowd and told everybody to wake up.
Who cares about Derek Zoolander anyway? The man has only one look, for Christ's sake. Blue steel? Ferrari, Latigra, they're the same face! Doesn't anyone notice this? I feel like I'm taking crazy pills!
We all feel like we're taking crazy pills here. The Kamala Harris campaign is the Derek Zoolander face, and the Derek Zoolander face is the Kamala Harris campaign. The whole crowd knows they're getting exactly the same thing, but they're going along with it because if everyone around them believes that it's different, then it must be true. They don't want to say anything because they either believe it as well or they don't want to appear as the crazy one. From the outside looking in, we're all Mugatu. We're wondering if people really can't see what's going on. Ironically, at the end of the movie, as Derek Zoolander reveals the new look he's been working on for years and has promised will be completely different than anything he's done before, it ends up being exactly the same, just with a different name. And as everyone stares in awe at this supposedly new Derek Zoolander, unfortunately even Mugatu falls into the mass psychosis with the crowd and praises the new thing, even though obviously nothing has changed. But I would love to hear all of your thoughts on this in the comments below. Please be sure to hit that like button. Make sure that you are subscribed and that your notifications are turned on so that you never miss an upload. Tune in to my Wednesday morning live streams at 10 a.m. Central Time, where I talk about all of the current events and issues that I really want to discuss with you. Keep it real, guys, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.